537, Nashville's Morning News on Super Talk, 99.7 WTN. Good morning to you, friends. How are you? Joan, have you seen this story? I'm trying to find a good version of the story because I don't want to get caught doing fake news. So we all know this dirtbag Carmelo Anthony in Frisco, Texas. Black kid stabbed the white kid. And the only reason I mention skin color is because everybody else does, right? So apparently, people gave this kid the fund $400,000, crowdsourcing for $400,000.
Unbelievable.
Unflippin' believable.
Yeah.
Now, I'm trying to find out because people are saying that he's been released, right? We know that. I guess he's now on, they lowered his bond from like $1 million to whatever it was.
Why? That's another question. Like, why would they do that?
Well, because they're soft on crime.
Yeah.
They're soft on crime. That's why they would do that. And they don't care about Austin Metcalf, the victim. They simply do not care because the Democrat Party and people that support dirtbags like this, they're all about trying to support the perpetrator in this case, and they care nothing for the victim. So that's why they do that, Joan. We actually have an example, and I'm going to get into this a little bit later on in the program. We have an example of that here in Nashville, where a dude is charged with raping a couple of teenage girls, and the judge lowered his bail so that he could get out. It is stunning the amount of evidence there is. This Democrat judge in Nashville, voted in by the people of Nashville, 99.1%. It's like, what is wrong with people in Nashville? Why would you allow a judge like this to be voted into office only to let rapists who rape teenage girls lower the bond, lower the bail so that they can get out and roam free and probably rape more people? You know what I mean? It is just stunning to me. Anyway, so word is that Carmelo Anthony's parents have bought a house. With the money but see, I'm trying to find out if that's fake news or not, because the Daily Mail had a story on it. And of course, the Daily Mail is so full of graphics that our computer in here can't handle it. So I'm trying to find out the actual truth about whether or not, okay, there's more to the story kind of a thing. Because I hate when that happens. Like you talk about a story and then you think it's one thing and then it's something completely another. So I don't know, but that's what I want to know is are they really using that money to buy a house?
I'm looking now.
All right. So the question, I have no idea.
What was it? How did it get collected? Was that on the money?
Well, GoFundMe canceled the fundraiser.
Oh,
I don't know the details on it. So I don't know if it was GoFundMe. I don't know if it was another one of these apps or social media, websites, crowdsourcing and all that. I don't know which one it was. Because I typically don't. I've donated to a few of those things, and it's always been on GoFundMe, but they're always for legit things, right? Like I would never dream of contributing to the fund for a guy that clearly, and I understand that we have to use the word allegedly. Dude admitted that he did it.
Yeah.
Carmelo Anthony admitted that he did it. Now he's saying that he did it in self-defense.
Right.
And
so Grok, because now that you've turned me on to Grok, I can't stop using it, and I use it for everything now.
Grok it.
So it says that Carmelo Anthony's parents, some reports suggest that the family planned to use it to relocate because they were threatened so much.
As opposed to just hiring security?
Yeah.
Whatever.
And that could include moving to a new home, but there's no confirmation that they specifically bought a house with that donated money.
Okay, thank you. All right, so we don't know. That's what I like about Grok. And here, you know what the great thing about Grok is? By the way, folks, if you don't know what Grok is, on X, it's their own sort of artificial intelligence where you can basically ask it anything and it'll spit out the answer. And it's not left, it's not right. It gives, both sides to the story. It gives you information so that you can make up your own mind. Is that how you would characterize Grok?
Yeah.
All right. That's how I would characterize
By the
Grok.
way, he has to wear, he's on home monitoring, he has to wear an ankle monitor, and he's not able to leave his parents' house without permission from a judge.
Okay, so let's go through all the things that Carmelo Anthony can do at home. He can have his friends over. Mm-hmm. He can play games. He can, do gaming stuff. If they're going to buy a new crib, then he can probably go swimming because you've got all kinds of houses out there, swimming pools, especially the nicer ones. You can order, good food. You can exercise. I don't know if he's got, some sort of basketball court or whatever on the home, but whatever. In other words, he stabbed a man in cold blood. And don't give me this business about it was self-defense, please. He brought a knife to a track meet, and he was told that he was sitting in the wrong area, and he pulls out a knife and he stabs a guy right in the heart. I'm sorry, but that's not self-defense. That is cold-blooded murder. So, but apparently people that donated to his deal, they just don't care. It's cold-blooded murder. It is so astonishing.
Daily Mail, by the way, is reporting that his father said the fund would be used for Anthony's legal defense, but he also disclosed that the cash would be used for security and to help the family move after threats that they have allegedly faced since the killing.
Okay, whatever.
So the Daily Mail reports that.
All right. We'll have to see what happens. Carmelo Anthony. Now, Super Texter asked the question. Mm-hmm. Would you rather be salary or hourly after Trump stops no tax on overtime? Right. So here, most people on the super text line said they would. It just depends on the deal that you make, because if you're on salary, and I know this from personal experience, if you're on salary, they can work you like a dog.
Oh yeah,
you know that trick, Joan.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever been in management?
No.
Okay. So I noticed right away when I started being a manager, I went from hourly to being a manager, and it was like all of a sudden I actually took a pay cut, believe it or not, when I became a manager.
Yeah. Because
I was making a lot of overtime. And I was working basically about 50, 55 hours a week doing all that I was doing. They made me a manager, and I thought, oh, yeah, I'm going to be rolling in the dough now. And I looked at my first paycheck, and I'm like, why is this smaller than my usual check? And I realized that by working salary, they could basically, and this was many, many, many years ago, they would be able to work me to the bone, and I wouldn't work me like a dog, and I wouldn't get overtime for it. So it just depends on the deal.
And then you stuck with it, and you said, gosh, this is great. I'd love to continue doing this.
Sure.
And you did.
For many, many years.
Yeah.
You know what the best time of my life is? Right now, when I don't have to manage people. I am having the time of my life, Joan. And you think that I'm kidding? No, I'm not. Not having to deal with people. No offense to the people that I've managed in the past, but that's somebody else's problem now. Go complain to them. Hey, Donald Trump and Caitlin Collins. This was actually kind of fun. Caitlin Collins was in the presser with the El Salvadorian president. And this is what he said. Listen, as she is wanting to ask a question.
How long do we have to answer this question from you? Why don't you just say, isn't it wonderful that we're keeping criminals out of our country? Why can't you just say that? Why do you go over and over? And that's why nobody watches you anymore. You know, you have no credibility.
I mean, so she keeps asking the question. The frustration that Trump had is she keeps asking the question about this MS-13 gangbanger deported out of Maryland back to El Salvador. And I've got the complete story coming up, but in the 6 o'clock hour. But I think Trump he's got a great point. You've got these folks that are just obsessed with this case. And I do understand there's questions about due process and so forth. But I think he's just to the point where Trump is tired of answering the same question over and over again. And so that was one comment. But listen to what he also said about Caitlin Collins' ratings.
Let's hear the question from this very low-rated anchor at CBS.
Thank you, President. Do you plan to ask President Bukele to help?
Low rated, he says. Do you know what the thing is, Joan Jones? It's fact check true.
Oh, really?
Her show, think about how low rated Caitlin Collins is.
Yeah.
She is ranked 8th among all CNN shows. So she is like the forgive me, I'm going to use a politically incorrect phrase. She is the smallest, shortest midget in the room. Because usually if you're the highest rated on a low rated station or whatever, you're the tallest midget in the room. She is the shortest midget in the room. Am I going to get in trouble for that?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, good. I don't want a gaggle of midgets out in front of the station with their signs. Moving right along. Anyway, so somebody say something, please.
I'm slack-jawed in awe at what you just said.
Slack-jawed.
Wow.
There's a term I haven't heard in a while.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I haven't heard a guy say there's going to be a
gaggle of midgets in front of the building.
In front of the building, thank God it's 5:40 in the morning.
Anyway, so yeah. Now the question is, and I did pose the question on the Daily Dan poll on YouTube: is Donald Trump? Because I do believe that he is kind of punching down on CNN. I do believe that. This is what he said about CNN, generally speaking.
Actually, what you're doing with the border is remarkable. It has dropped, 95%? It's incredible.
As of this morning, 99%, 99.1% to be exact.
Why are those numbers not in the media?
Well, they get out with the fake news, like CNN over here doesn't want to put them out because they don't like putting out good numbers. They only like putting out because I think they hate our country, actually.
Wow.
Yeah, but it's a shame. You're right. Isn't that a great question? Why don't they put out numbers?
Yeah, 99%. I mean, it's crazy, right?
We're doing
it's
great.
A crazy turnaround.
All right, so this is my favorite soundbite of the day. Because Dana Bash over there on CNN, Dana Bash, she is, to me, I have no idea. There's people on CNN, I have no idea how it is that they have their jobs. And Dana Bash is one of them. When you were in Washington, D.C., I've got to ask this, Jones. Did people respect Dana Bash?
Oh, yes.
Did they really? Because
Yes.
she is a train wreck.
We had her on routinely as an expert on this or that, whatever. Yeah, we
Right.
talk to her often.
Okay.
Yep.
And I'm sure she's a nice person.
I mean, we didn't have much
You'll
personal
notice
exchange
that
with
Joan
her.
Jones is hesitating on answering the
Yeah.
question honestly.
Yeah.
So I love this, though. Dana Bash had to get on and respond.
I just want to say, for the record, since we heard President Trump say in the Oval Office that CNN hates our country, CNN does not hate our country. That should go without saying. I've been here for 32 years, and I see a rhetorical device in him trying to say such a thing.
So there you go.
If you have to defend yourself in such a way,
Yes.
I think there's something
So
to it.
there's two things here. Number one, Dana Bash does not speak for the entire network. I bet you there are people on CNN that do hate our country. That's number one. Number two is the fact that she felt the need to respond, I think is actually quite ridiculous because Trump's accusation kind of stands on its own. You know what I mean? Like, I heard what Trump said and I just laughed. I kind of rolled my eyes and I laughed and I said, okay, whatever. Because Trump is being Trump.
Yeah.
And so for them to feel the need to respond, it's like, CNN does not, in fact, hate America. I mean, really? You felt the need to get on and say that?
But the best part is that he's trolling them in such a way to make them do these things. I mean,
Yeah.
they wouldn't normally do that if it wasn't that President Trump was calling him out in such a way. He
That is
really
so funny.
knows how to just goose them.
Oh, yeah.
And they take the bait every time.
He is absolutely an expert troller, and I love that about Donald Trump. And I think it is funny. Caitlin Collins, I'm not entirely certain what Trump has against her specifically, because, I mean, I've actually seen where she has defended Donald Trump, believe it or not, many years ago. But she has defended him in the past. But, you know, nobody likes to be called out in front of their contemporaries. And so, you know, for Caitlin Collins, it was a very bad day. However, that's what you get when you go up against Donald Trump. And I think that people expect that from the president. Now, the question was, the Daily Dan poll, is Donald Trump punching down? So, KGB, what are the current numbers?
Current numbers right now, 67% say no.
All right. So that's actually pretty good. So that means that 33% say that President Trump would be punching down. So there you go. So I'm not totally wrong. I'm not totally at odds with the audience. Just some of them. Do you think he's punching down, Joan?
No, I don't.
Okay. KGB, do you think he's punching down?
These people said he should have been in jail, like, how many times now? So, I mean, they keep punching at him. He can throw shots
Yeah,
back.
and look what happened, though. I mean, he won the election.
So he should be thanking them in a sense?
Yes, he should, because they helped create a boogeyman. You know what? This is actually worthy of a conversation. So CNN and MSNBC, they created such a boogeyman out of Donald Trump. They called him, KGB, you're absolutely right, raper in chief, Hitler, you know, convicted felon 34 times.
Yeah.
They created such a boogeyman in Donald Trump that when people actually realized, when he would take part in debates and you'd see him in interviews and so forth, they realized that he was not the boogeyman that CNN and MSNBC and the mainstream media was trying to create, that destroyed their credibility and built Donald Trump's credibility. So yes, KGB, he should be thanking CNN. You see how I did that? All right, well, I was impressed.
Expert. It was expert.
5:54. Nobody wants to talk today. 5:54, and Joan, what's coming up in the news?
Well, I'll tell you why you got to be careful with those smoke bombs that people set off in their homes to rid things like rats and mice. Mm-hmm. Tell you about an incident that happened in Murray County recently with one woman who did just that.
By the way, I should ask, how did everybody sleep last night? Just real quick, because I've got business to take care of.
I had no problem.
I had a lightning strike. I posted on my Facebook page.
Yeah.
I had a lightning strike that, you know, when you go into like a weather app and it'll tell you the closest lightning strike?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I had a lightning strike that was literally 0 feet away.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Any damage to your home?
I hope not, because I mean, it was like, you know, when the lightning strikes and then the thunder and you go 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi.
There was no Mississippi?
There was no Mississippi. There wasn't even a meh. I mean, it was just like, it was immediate. And
that's when you know it's right there.
I was up.
Yeah.
Anyway, 5:55 on WTN.
Well, that's all.